Hi and welcome to this screencast about scaling SignalR with SQL Server. So I recently had this scenario where mobile clients were posting updates to a web API and I needed to notify users browsing a completely different website. So basically we needed to share a SignalR hub between two different apps. Unfortunately, that's pretty easy to do, and I'm gonna try to demo this in the screencast. So what you need to install is a NuGet package called Microsoft ASP.NET SignalR SQL Server, and we'll be able to configure a SQL database. And my solution was hosted in Azure. I'm gonna do this screencast locally, and we'll see at the end, depending on how much time we have, if I'll publish it to Azure. So let's get started. We'll add a new web API project. Just installed update 4 for Visual Studio, so I haven't actually had the time to set up my workspace as I always do. I will add the web frontend project, an empty ASP.NET application with MVC references. So yeah, I forgot to mention there's an excellent guide on how to do this on the SignalR homepage. I'm going to basically follow this and do some slight modifications to fulfill my requirements. So we have the API and the web frontend. Let's start by installing the NuGet package on the API. Let's see here. Yeah, tools. Let's get up the NuGet package manager console and install this to the API. And to the front end, we'll want to install SignalR package, which will give us the JavaScript libraries as well, and SignalR core and the Owen hosting files. And we're gonna need to configure this with Owen. So let's start by configuring the web API. Right. Okay. There we are. Okay, my resharper commands doesn't seem to be applied. As I said, I just installed the update 4. Perhaps a bad idea before a screencast. Right. So we've configured SignalR, and what we also need to do is configure the SQL database to use. We're gonna get the connection string from web config. So if you want to host this in Azure, we'll probably want to transform the debug connection string to a real connection string. So we'll add the debug connection string now. gonna go against my local DB. So I'm gonna create this database in a moment. I use integrate security for now. Alright, so let's go to the SQL Management Studio and create a database. Let's copy paste the name so we don't get a typo. And now if we watch the guide, follow the guide here, we need to enable service broker. So if we check if service broker is enabled, we can see that it's not enabled for our database that we just created. So I'll just run a command and enable it. Now we can see that it's enabled. So we don't have a schema yet. It will be created during runtime, the first time we try to post a notification. So we've basically configured the API. Let's see if this fires up. Hit F5. And seems like it can't start. Okay, so let's see what's missing. We'll probably need to tell us that this is the startup, the Owen startup class. Yeah, and also I think that we didn't get the Owen hosting for system web. No, we didn't. So we'll add another package so for hosting Owen in IIS. So let's add that. And hopefully the application will start now. Okay, seems to be a problem with the security package. I think. Okay, so maybe we'll need to update it. Seems like it's an older version. Oops, I meant update. But it actually updated it for us. Alright. Yay, so Owen started up. And we still can't post anything here yet. So this part works. Let's add a web API controller. It's called notification controller. We'll just have a post method here. Return OK. Before we return OK, we want to publish a message on the hub. we need to get the hub context, and we can do this in a typed fashion, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So since we're gonna share a hub between these two projects, we'll create a common project. We'll just rename this to Notification Hub. We're gonna inherit hub. So in this common project, we're just gonna reference the core package. Right, and now we'll get the notification hub here. This is just to get it typed, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and call a dynamic method directly here just to get things running. So we call a method called notify, and let's see if this will create our schema for us in the database. So Owen starts up, and let's post to this controller. And we hit the post method. We got our hub. We managed to notify all our clients. We don't actually have any clients connected, but if we've done this correctly now, we should see tables here. Yeah, we have schema version 1, reference the payload, and here's the actual messages with the payload. So this is pretty cool. So we have the backend set up. So if we look at this picture again, we can imagine that these updates are posted from mobile clients to our API, and they're actually getting posted to our SQL Server database. So now we need to push these notifications to our website. So let's get started with that. We just attached the debugger here. See if it's still up and running, and it is. Alright, so now we can focus on the front end. What was I doing? Yeah. Okay, so we'll add, obviously we need to configure Owen here as well. And it looks like we forgot to install the SQL Server package here, so we're gonna add that. Right, got that package, and now we should resolve the reference. Excellent. So we'll add a home controller, an empty MSC5 controller, a default view. Now we need to connect to this notification hub. So just by adding the reference to the common project, we'll find the notification hub and generate a proxy for it when we start up. So we're also going to need to add a connection string. So our web config. Okay, so let's go back to the tutorial here and jump to the getting started part with SignalR. So this example shows how to create a simple chat. So we're gonna jump right down to the HTML code. A bit overkill to have a layout here just for one page, but we'll do it anyway. So web, skip the CSS parts, let's delete everything here and just do get the container, do a render body here. Let's throw in our script files. Right. Don't preview the selected item, so throw in jQuery here, and since we have a layout here, we don't actually need to include the SignalR JavaScript file in the main layout. So we'll do that in our index file. So this part is not required. And then in index, we'll have a section scripts, and here we'll just add the jQuery min. Alright, and now let's copy paste the actual code that will get this running for us. So a little sanity check would be when we start debugging this web frontend is to try to access SignalR/hubs and see that our proxies are generated for us. So notification hub, and we are broadcasting notify. I think we called it that, right? Let's see here. What's called our notification controller? Notify. Right, so and then we'll just append. Don't need this. Just want to see that everything works. So we got notified. And let's start the connection here. Right, so this should be it. Yeah, obviously we need a discussion element as well, so we'll add a UL with ID discussion. Right, so I think we are satisfied with this. So let's see if this works. Once again with the same error. So I didn't have this problem actually when I was running on Visual Studio Update 3. It looks like the security package isn't compatible. The Owen startup file. Alright, let's just update the Owen packages to the same version that we know works here. Okay, so let's update. So we got a 3.0 there. Let's see, let's compare these files. So we'll update that as well. security package. Right, let's hope this builds. So we got 3030 over 10, okay. Yeah, fine. So Owen starts up and we configure the SQL server to use. And let's check out the console. No errors. So we can do a sanity check here by browsing this URL. See that the hub is generated for us. We already know that it is since we didn't get an error. So we can see our notification hub here is generated for us. So this is pretty neat. I think this will work. So now when we post to the API, we got notified. So this is pretty cool actually. In 20 minutes we managed to set this infrastructure up. We got the API notifying our browsers browsing a completely different app and using the SQL Server as the backplane for SignalR. And so let's just duplicate this and see if we have a breakpoint here. We post another notification. We hit that breakpoint. Get notified in all our clients, and the messages are persisted here. So I thought I had a deadline on 20 minutes and I reached 22 minutes now from this screencast. So I hope this helps you out and you've seen how powerful this is. Really easy to use and easy to set up. No fuss at all. So if we want to deploy this to Azure, we basically just publish the apps to separate Azure websites and set up Azure database, do a web release config transform, of course, so we can't go against a local DB, and this should be up and running in Azure as well. But we don't actually have time for that right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. So until next time, have a nice day. Bye.